Okay, so hello class. Good day to all of you. For this recording, we're going to talk about the importance of the affective domain and why is it important to set learning targets that are situated in the affective domain. Now, at this juncture, we have to know or we have to understand that there are many studies when it comes to finding the connection between attitude and actual learning of the students. That is to say that learning is not only reliant on the knowledge of the students or how good they are in managing knowledge, but also how they control themselves or how they conduct um, their own value system towards the learning of the subject matter. And of course, tayo, we are schools, diba? We there's a reason kung bakit yung iba, yung for example, yung Philippine Normal University ay tinatawag na normal university. That is because teachers teach students to be normal. What does it mean to be normal? Teachers teach students how to live among the society in such a way that the students are within the bounds of the society, but also are able to express their individuality as a function. Okay? So, um, yun nga. What I said earlier is just one of the reasons on why we should include effective learning targets. Kasi nga, sabi nila, or some people believe, what do you do with all the knowledge if you do not know how to use it to help others, or at the very least to ensure that the lives of others are embettered. Okay? So, you see there on your screens right now, the highlighted statement is from Weiss and Smith, who stated that students who have allocated the efforts and they call this value towards learning show particular higher levels of proficiency towards the said task. So for example, pag nag-effort ka na mag-solve ng mathematical problem, chances are you'll get better proficiency in doing or in answering the said mathematical problem. Okay, so that's only one of the many studies that highlight learning and its connection to attitude. Now, one of the constructs when you study attitude is what you call motivation. Okay, motivation, according to Navarro and Santos, this is the reason for engaging in a particular behavior. So lahat ng behavior, lahat ng action na ginagawa natin, whether it be in the academe or in real life, meron yang reason behind said action. So you have motivation behind those actions. So as I was saying, whenever we do something that something in real life, in the academe, sa ating bahay, we have a motivation in doing so. Now, one of the earlier theories that surrounds motivation is the theory of hierarchy of needs by Abraham Maslow. So, according to Abraham Maslow, according to Abraham Maslow, as said by Navarro and Santos, ang hierarchy of needs daw ay nag-a-assume ng mga ganitong bagay. Number one, human beings have wants and desires that influence their behavior. Only unsatisfied needs can influence behavior. Satisfied needs cannot. What does this mean? Pag nasatisfy na yung ibang needs mo, you're not really motivated towards that particular need. For example, pag gutom na gutom ka, right? So, you motivate yourself na maghanap ng pagkain because you're hungry. But in the moment that you have fulfilled that need, pag nakakain ka na, pag busog ka na, okay? Hindi ka na mamomotivate ng food. Kahit bigyan ka ng lechon sa harap mo, kung busog ka na, mahirap na. Wala nang gaanong motivation doon. Okay? So, again, human beings are motivated by unsatisfied needs, but not by the needs that are already satisfied. Perhaps you can look at it this way in a more controversial manner. That's why people cheat, or that's one of the reasons why people cheat, because there are unsatisfied needs, diba? Then again, this views humans as purely selfish beings, and we know that humans, kahit meron tayong unsatisfied needs, we are somehow limited by our values. Okay? Ang gusto ko lang makuha nyo from this sentence, sorry, medyo napahaba, is that, again, the greatest motivator for humans are unsatisfied needs. Pag satisfied ng isang tao, hindi mo na siya maaakit sa needs na iyon. Okay? Since needs are many, they are arranged in an order of importance from the most basic to the more complex. So, meron daw iba't ibang level ng needs according to the hierarchy of needs. Meron mga needs na mas importante from others. Okay? The person advances to the next level of needs only after the lower needs is at least minimally satisfied. During our face-to-face class, sinasabi ko sa inyo, okay lang na matulog kayo sa klase. Because you cannot learn properly if you are sleeping. Because I believe that your need to sleep, your need for rest, okay, is important for you to satisfy first compared to your needs of learning. Okay? Again, kasi pag tayo inaantok, we cannot learn properly. Okay? The further the progress up the hierarchy, the more individuality, humanness, and psychological health a person will show. Okay? So, may pag-usapan natin yung mga needs na yun. But the more basic needs that you satisfy, the more humane you will be, the more able you are to express your individuality, to express your values in different environments. So, ano ba yung mga needs na iyon? So, according to, okay, figure 2 that you see right now, this figure, okay, this came from, this is not mine, This came from Simply Psychology 2021. Okay, so you see there in the pyramid, sa pinakababang level, you have physiological needs. Okay, so when you say physiological needs, these are your basic needs, which includes food, water, warmth, and rest. Okay, take note of rest, di ba? Pag hindi ka nakatulog, hindi ka nagpa-function properly because that is one of your basic needs. You need rest. Okay? So, once this have been satisfied, pag nakakain ka na, when you are sufficiently rehydrated, when you feel warmth and rest, you can now move up to safety needs. Ano ba tong safety needs? Ang safety needs is security and safety. Okay? Usually, nasasatisfy natin ito by having a house to live. Saan ka pupunta after? Saan ka matutulog after? Okay? That's why some of us do not really feel this particular need because it is currently, some of us, or at least most of us, nasasatisfy na ito when nakikita na tayo sa parents. But as you go forward in life, you will think of this. Ano yung gagawin ko to secure my needs tomorrow? Okay? So, isipin mo dito yung needs mo ng pera, needs mo ng resources to ensure that your basic needs, that your physiological needs are addressed not today, but for tomorrow and the next day and the next and the next and the next. Your security in securing your physiological needs for the next or for the foreseeable future. Kasali yung idea na yun sa safety needs. Now, if your needs or physiological needs are secured for the foreseeable future, you may now be able to look up. Kasama na siya sa belongingness and love needs. Kasama dito yon. intimate relationships, and friends. Dito mag-i-start yung iyong social need. Okay? So, dito na mapapasok yung idea naman na, okay, meron na akong secure na yung physiological needs ko. But I feel lonely. Okay? I feel the need to talk to others. So, doon na papasok yung belongingness and love needs. Okay? Now, that's why some people look for friends, some people look for intimate relationships, because they have already satisfied the physiological needs and security and safety needs, and that's the next level. Okay, now it is very rare. It's not impossible, but it is very rare to find a person that has no need for friends or relationships. Okay, kasi dito class, when we talk about belongingness and love, hindi lang siya friends in the social aspect. You also talk about interpersonal relationships in the work or outside of the work. Okay? In order for you to function as a basic human being living in a society, you must have a cordial, or at the very least, a civil relationship with the people around you. Hindi pwedeng yung lagi kang hostile sa kanila, because no man lives alone. Okay? Lalo na sa panahon natin ngayon, 'di ba? Yung kinakain ninyo, lahat na ingredients doon hindi nyo hinarvest on your own. You bought it from the market, you talked to someone, okay? You got it from someone, and that someone and you have at least a civil relationship. Okay? So, kasama po doon ang kasama po yun sa belongingness and needs. The next level is esteem needs. This is the feeling of accomplishment or prestige. Okay? So, ito yung feeling na may mga friends ka na, okay na, you have your partner na, but what have I accomplished? Okay? Yung mga ganong tanong, yung papasok dito. What makes me stand out from the rest? Ano yung unique feature ko? Ano yung aking maipagmamalaki na ambag ko sa iba? Doon na papasok yung needs mo to have some sort of accomplishment. Okay? That's why some of us, kahit marami tayong friends, we feel that we are inferior because we do not have accomplishments, or at the very least sa paningin natin, wala pa tayong notable accomplishments. And do not fear if you have that feeling, because that is one of the needs of humans. Okay? That's why, iba ngayon, okay, so as I was saying, lahat tayo merong needs for prestige or sense of accomplishment. That's why some of us, di ba, napakalaking accomplishment ng pagpasa ng LET. That's why some of us post it. Some of us celebrate it. Because that is one of our needs, to celebrate our victories, because it gives us a sense of accomplishment. Now, some people, for example, some people nakapagtapos na ng pinakadulo na ng pag-aaral pero hindi pa nila feel na accomplished sila. Okay? That is possible. Naipasa na nila lahat ng test, lahat ng defense, and etc. pero wala pa rin yung sense of accomplishment. That is because, again, what we consider as accomplishments is subjective to each person. But what's important to understand here, class, is this. Every person has esteem needs. Okay? Sabi nga nila, there is one line that it really kills me. Sabi nila, sometimes it's better to kill a man than to kill his pride. Okay? So the idea there is a man, or in this case a human, regardless of gender, without pride and honor to themselves is much worse than being alive. Okay? A dead man with honor and respect to oneself is much better than a living man with no self-respect. Okay? Because that stems from esteem needs. Okay? And the highest level of need, according to at least according to Simply Psychology, is this: self-actualization, the full achievement of one's own potential. Okay? So ito na yung namamanifest mo na. You show the pinnacle of your identity. Okay? Yung meron ka ng accomplishments, yung nakita mo na yung how you can improve the needs of others and how you can touch the lives of others. Okay? Dito na yung point na pwede ka nang lumabas out of your needs because you have already achieved your full potential. And at this juncture, you usually serve as the model of the community na. Someone who has achieved their full potential now has the potential to influence others to achieve the same level of achievement. Okay? So, yun yung pinaka-highest level ng ating needs, yung ating self-actualization. Okay? So, and that is, again, only the hierarchy of needs by Abraham Maslow. Isa ito sa pinaka-talked about theory when it comes to education. I have a feeling na hindi nyo lang dito na-encounter yung hierarchy of needs. Okay? But then again, ang implication nito sa class is this. When you have students who has unanswered physiological needs, chances are doon nagfo-focus yung pinaka-motivation nila. Bakit? Saan ba papasok yung learning? Doon siya papasok sa esteem needs, di ba? Napaka-layo. Okay? So, ang learning mo, papasok yan, magiging motivated ka to learn if you want to accomplish or if you're looking for the feeling of accomplishment. Hindi papasok yan kapag hindi ka nakakain because you're motivated to learn. There's a reason kung bakit karamihan sa atin iniisip pag malapit na yung lunchtime, iniisip anong oras kaya matatapos yung klase, gutom na ako. Because we are now being motivated by our unanswered needs. A need that needs to be answered before you can move on to higher levels of needs. Food is more important than academics. That is according to the hierarchy of needs because if you are hungry, you do not function well. Sabi nga ng Snickers, di ba? You're not you when you're hungry. Okay, paki-sponsor po ako. Char. And of course, people who have no basic needs, no clothes, no home, do you think they would think more about their academics? Chances are no, di ba? That's why we see some cases na yung ibang bata tumitigil sa pag-aaral. Bakit? Kasi yung safety needs nila, yung security of having food, of having physiological needs for the next few days, next few months, next few years ay nawawala. That's why they cannot focus on learning. Because ang iniisip nila is, may pagkain pa kaya ako bukas, may titirahan pa kaya ako bukas, etc., etc. Okay? So as teachers, okay, yung kaya nating i-answer na physiological needs ng bata, we answer. Pero again, teachers lang naman tayo, di ba? Hindi naman unlimited yung resources natin. Okay? So, yeah. In my class, kung inanto kayo, matulog lang kayo. That's your physiological needs. A need that needs to be answered before you can move on to learning. Before you can move on to esteem needs. Okay? So, another theory when it comes to motivation is proposed by Herzberg. So, ang proposal niya is called the two-factor theory. Sabi niya, there are two factors that affect job satisfaction. So, si Herzberg naman ay nakafocus sa job. So, this would most likely affect you when you are teachers yourselves na. So, sabi niya dalawang factors lang yan. Number one is the motivator, okay, which refer to activities that reward people for their effort. Okay? And hygiene factors, which are factors that adversely affect the workplace if not established. So, dito muna tayo sa motivator. Motivators are activities that reward people. So, when we talk about reward, this can be external rewards, this can be money, this can be food, it can be something that you need, or it can be internal reward. Internal rewards is yung mga feeling. Okay? Yung mga positive feeling na nakukuha natin when we did something. For example, just this past month yata, not sure when, okay, I gave food, not money, food to an old beggar. Okay? So, after I gave the food to the said beggar, I felt good. Okay, the feeling of feeling good is a reward in itself. Okay, that's an internal reward. Okay, and then the other ones is ito na lang, business type. Okay, I did some statistics for some students. Okay, and then after I did the statistics, they paid me money. Okay, the money is the reward for my activity. Money is the reward for doing statistics. That is an external reward. Okay, so that is your motivator, something that increases your motivation to do something. Or in this case, sabi nga, factors that refer to activities that reward people with their effort. And then hygiene factors, which are usually external factors that include salary, job security, tenure, benefits, etc., etc. Okay? So ano po ba itong mga hygiene factors na ito? These are the factors that ensure productivity in the workplace. For example, according to Herzberg, yung mga employees mo that have job security, that has tenure, tends to work better, tends to be more motivated than your employees without tenure. There's a reason kung bakit marami rin gustong pumasok sa DepEd. Because there is job security there. Pag nakapasok ka sa DepEd, regular ka, permanent teacher ka, if you do not resign, ha? Okay? So, hindi mo na iisipin kung bukas meron ka pa bang work. You just have to do your work well. Okay? So, that is hygiene factors. Okay? Compared sa ibang mga workers sa ibang industry, like BPO, that are contractual. Pagkatapos ng contract nila, wala na. Diba? It's either they will get renewed if their performance is satisfactory, or they will have to find a new job. And every day that you work in that environment, papasok at papasok sa isip mo, what if hindi na ako ma-renew? Paano na yung job security ko? Paano na yung security ko, di ba? Sa level 2, safety and security. Okay? Pag hindi insured sa'yo yun, chances are yun yung isipin mo. Mas lalo kang nawawalan ng motivation if that is what you think about. Okay? So those are hygiene factors. Okay? So, ang sinasabi lang dito, my dears, is this. It's okay, it's normal to be demotivated if you have needs that are not satisfied. It's okay to be demotivated if the environment, the hygiene factors are not conducive for productive work. Okay? So the next one, we talk about the theory of Clayton Alderfer. So ang ginawa niya lang is this. Sinimplify niya yung hierarchy of needs ni Abraham Maslow. Si Abraham Maslow merong 5, right? So balik tayo dun. You have physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness and love needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization. So kay Alderfer, meron lang 3 levels. You have existence, relatedness, and growth. This is also known as the ERG theory. So yung lower level, the existence, yan yung nagko-cover ng physiological and safety needs. Kasi nga, in order for you to exist properly, in order for you to even exist in itself, you have to have these 2 needs. Number 1 is physiological needs in order for you to exist at the current time, in order for you to think at the current time. Safety needs is in order for you to think, in order for you to prosper, in order for you to become consistent throughout the next few times or the next times. Okay? And then love and self-esteem are under relatedness, because yung ating sense of accomplishment, yung ating self-esteem ay relative to others. We relate ourselves to others. Sa love, we connect ourselves to others. Sa self-esteem, we relate. We compare ourselves to others to find our esteem. And then self-actualization and some parts of self-esteem are under the growth factor. Okay? So, growth focuses on the growth. Pag na-achieve mo na yung highest level of your potential, and then that is it. Okay? So yun po yung ERG theory: existence, which covers physiological and safety needs. Okay. Then you have love and self-esteem, which are relatedness. And then you have self-actualization and some levels of self-esteem as the growth factors. Okay, these are the ERG theory according to Alderfer. Okay, so moving on from motivation. Okay, Omrod publishing findings on its effects on learners and concluded that motivation can blah blah blah. Okay, so ano ba ibig sabihin nito? Let's talk about this. How can motivation affect learning? Okay, so marami ng research dyan actually. Motivation is one of the highly researched variables in education. How can we improve motivation in education? How do we take advantage of motivation in order to maximize learning? All of those questions have been constantly researched in the field of education. This is because motivation is widely accepted as a catalyst for better learning. And here are the reasons why. Number one, according to Omron, motivation directs behavior towards a particular goal. Di ba ang education natin ay goal-based? Meron tayong objective. Okay? By using motivation, we can force our students to achieve that objective, which actually fulfills our job. Then you have increased enthusiasm. When you say enthusiasm, this is the involvement in the class. Okay? Because better involvement means better learning. Okay? Better involvement, better enthusiasm leads to more easily remembered experiences. Okay? Then you have increased initiation and tenacity towards activities. When you say initiation, mas mabilis silang nakakapasok sa pagiging involved in the activities. And tenacity means perseverance, means their durability against challenges and obstacles. Okay? Next is improved cognitive processing. This talks more about the loss of learning. When you are motivated, when you are interested in a topic, the better you are at remembering one thing. There's a reason kung bakit mas madali mong naaalala yung favorite subject mo compared sa mga subject na hindi mo naman gusto. Okay? Evaluate which consequences are effective in reinforcement. Now, in our theories of learning, we have, what do you call this? We have operant conditioning. Okay? So, sa operant conditioning, meron tayong mga reinforcement and punishments that we use to increase or decrease the frequency of an action. Okay? Sa classroom, meron tayong action na dinidesire. Okay? So, motivation allows us, or is another factor na tinitingnan natin, which allows us to drive the students into our desired actions. Okay? And then, it leads to better performance in multiple settings. Now, this can be good or bad. Why? Because some people perform better when there is a reward to be expected. But this falls off heavily pag inaalis mo yung reward na yon. If there's a reason kung bakit tinatamad tayong gawin yung isang work kapag walang reward, right? Then, di ba, pag sinabi natin, uy, samahan mo ako sa ganito, ganyan. Ayaw ko nga, tatamad ako. Tapos bigla siya nagdagdag libre ko kape. Di ba? Bigla kang gaganahan because you have something, you have a motivator added, and this would lead you to be more receptive, more better in performing in certain scenarios. Okay? So, again, motivation is very useful. It is very intertwined with learning. The problem is, how can we actually drive the motivation of the students? Okay, so tinignan ko, madami pa pala ito. So, tapusin natin ha. Okay, so let's talk about the two types of motivation. The first type of motivation is intrinsic motivation. This refers to internal motivation to perform an activity because of the emotional benefits. Okay? So, intrinsic motivation is yung sinabi ko kanina, something about the beggar. The reward is feeling good. That's an example of intrinsic motivation when the pleasure that you receive is not something that comes from the outside, but something that comes from your own value system, something that comes from the traits, from the things that you value. Okay? And then yung kabaliktaran niya, which is extrinsic motivation, which is motivation that is brought about by external factors. So, ang example nito, yung sinabi ko sa inyo na pag yung isang kasama mo, ililibre ka ng kape sa kakagaganahang mag-work. Because meron kang external reward, yung reward ay hindi nanggagaling sa iyo, kundi nanggagaling mula sa iyong external environment. So that is extrinsic motivation. Okay, so dalawang uri lang yun. Okay, of course there are new developments when it comes to identifying motivation, but I will leave that out of this discussion for now because that is something that is a better explored rather than taught. Okay, so we also talk about the concept of self-efficacy here. Okay, this is the person's impression on their capability to perform an action. Okay, now impression lang ito ha. Self-efficacy is different from efficacy. Self-efficacy is your perception on how you can do things, and then efficacy is your actual measured skill. Meron yung iba sobrang believe sa sarili nila, ay kaya kong isolve yung problem na yan. Diba? Ibig sabihin, mataas yung self-efficacy niya. Tapos, nung sinusolve niya na, nakita mo, mali-mali naman yung solution, mababa yung efficacy kasi mali-mali yung solution. So, please, wag niyo pong paghahaluin itong dalawang concept na to. Self-efficacy is different from efficacy. Okay? So, ang self-efficacy, this is different from what you call self-esteem. Because ang self-esteem ay nakafocus sa buong pagkatao ng isang estudyante. Okay? Their sense of self-worth. Ang self-efficacy, this is action-based. Ang self-efficacy ko sa pag-drawing ay iba sa self-efficacy ko sa pag-solve ng mathematics. Whereas ang self-esteem ko, it's the same all throughout. It's the same whatever I do. Because self-efficacy is focused on the action, self-esteem is focused on the person. Okay? So, how does this work? Ang self-efficacy actually is one of the theories when it comes to learning. This is spearheaded by Albert Bandura, yung kanyang self-efficacy theory, which says that self-efficacy can have an effect, or it has an effect to the actual ability of the learners. Okay? Now, merong ibang mga researches, of course, that says this. For example, sa research ni Jernigan, sabi niya, ang estudyante daw na may mataas ng self-efficacy ay nakakababa, okay, ng kanilang efficacy sa learning process. Okay, and having a negative attitude towards the learner's own skill to learn could benefit the same process. What does this mean? Pag mataas na kasi self-efficacy mo, chances are you can be stubborn into learning new things. Ay, kaya ko na yan. Okay, pwede iba naman. Meron kasing ganong uri ng mechanism that exists between the students. So, students that know, students that believe that they have more to learn means that they are more receptive to learning. But that's only one of the many possible outcomes of research on self-efficacy. Okay? So, again, the reason why it's important to add attitudes to learning is because attitudes, without a doubt, affect learning. The values that we give to different scenarios, different situations, affect our capacity to learn. Okay? So, given the importance of affective learning in education, bakit kaya hindi sinasama yung ibang mga learning targets? So, nagbigay si Macmillan ng 4 na reason kung bakit ganun yung case. Number 1 is this. ang school curriculum ay nakaayos na sa cognitive targets. Okay, nakafocus sila sa cognitive targets. Why? Because pagkatapos mag-school ng mga bata, anong inaasahan natin sa kanila? Magtitake sila ng mga test. Magtitake sila ng student evaluation na grade sila base sa kanilang cognitive learning. Okay? So, that's problematic. Why? Because this standardized test, this high-stakes test, like yung magiging test ninyo sa LET, hindi i-measure yung value nyo doon. It does not matter kung kayo yung pinakamabait na tao sa mundo. What matters is how good you are at the subject, how knowledgeable you are at the subject. Okay? So, in this case, mas gusto mag-focus ng school sa cognitive targets because their metrics, yung kanilang perceived performance ay nakikita sa board passers nila, sa number of graduates nila, sa number na nakakapasok sa trabaho. Okay? So, again, it's more on a system-wide problem. However, that's something that is true, and that's not something that we can easily change. Also, there are some notions. Okay? I, for one, believe that personality, values, and character are developed at home. Okay? Whenever I see students whose conducts are wrong, hindi ko sila pinipigilan. Okay? Why? Hindi ko sila pinipigilan as long as hindi sila nakakagulo sa klase. Okay? Kung yung isang bata nagsi-cellphone habang nagkaklase, sure, why not? That's your value. Okay? And ako kasi, college teacher ako, my dears. Kayo magiging high school teachers, you're only forming the values of the students. Ako, I'm teaching college students whose values are already formed and that are hard to change. Okay? So, pag nakita ko yung bata nag-work, nag-ML, naglalaro ng kahit ano, tapos nakikita ko yung performance niya, ibig sabihin, hindi niya binavalue yung subject. Ibig sabihin, hindi ko kasalanan na mababa yung grades niya. However, pag kayo magtuturo na, dinidevelop nyo pa lang kasi yung values ng bata. Okay? So, kahit ayaw nyo pakialaman yung values nila, chances are, it will be a whole lot helpful if you correct the said values already. Okay? So, number 2, okay, making disposition or affective targets is specific is challenging. Kasi po, ang mga values po ay very abstract in nature. And also, a lot of times, they are not observable. Okay? So, pag hindi observable, mahirap siyang gawing specific. Okay, for example, paano mo sasabi na, how can you measure perseverance? How can you measure motivation? Motivation na hindi mo naman nakikita. Okay? And hindi ka sure kung motivation ba yun sa pagpapakitang tao or motivation towards the subject talaga. It's hard to measure if motivation is genuinely about learning or just genuinely about pakitang tao. Okay? So, mahirap i-assess ang affective targets. Okay? And of course, there's also the idea na iba-iba yung definition natin ng motivation. Iba-iba yung ating metrics on motivation. Okay? And then, assessing disposition targets is rife with difficulty because it lacks reliability and validity. Di ba sa ating cognitive targets, meron tayong content validity, construct validity, concurrent validity. Meron din tayong measures of reliability. Sa disposition, wala pong ganun. Okay? How can you measure the reliability of motivation? Kung ang motivation ay action-based. Okay? How can you measure honesty when students know that they are being measured for honesty? Diba? So, ang hirap niya i-measure. And karamihan ng measure na ginagawa natin sa kanya, observation lang, which focuses on observable behavior na hindi nga lahat ng value ay observable, or self-assessment, which is, again, hindi reliable kasi meron tayong tinatawag na norm bias. Bakit ko sasabihin na masama akong tao, di ba? Sure. Bakit ko sasabihin na hindi ako honest kung sinisurvey na nga lang ako? Okay? I can lie. Students will lie just for them to look good. It happens. It's part of being human. It's our fault in being human. But that is to be expected, diba? Kaya hindi reliable ang self-assessment. Next is magkakaiba-iba po tayo ng culture. Magkakaiba tayo ng mga traits na acceptable, magkakaiba tayo ng traits na unacceptable. It's the reason kung bakit marami pa rin nag-aaway ngayon. There are many nations that are at war. There are many groups that are at war. Social media is rife with conflict. It's because magkakaiba-iba po tayo ng culture, magkakaiba-iba tayo ng values na binavalue, magkakaiba-iba tayo ng scenarios na binavalue. And this thing makes assessing disposition hard. Kasi baka yung good values sa isang teacher ay hindi pala good values sa iba. Ay hindi pala good values pagdating ng mga bata sa society. Okay? Hindi katulad ng cognitive targets, like if a student does not know how to add, sa mga teachers, they also do not know how to add. Pag ang estudyante low performing when it comes to addition of fractions, sa kahit sinong teacher pa yan, low performing yan sa pag-add ng fractions. Kasi specific yun. Walang ambiguity, walang pagkakaiba-iba sa culture when we are talking about cognitive targets. Sa disposition targets, OMG, magkakandagulo-gulo lang kayo dyan. But nonetheless, again, we have to understand that kahit mahirap po i-assess ang disposition targets, they must never be removed in the classroom. Because ang goal natin, okay, as teachers is not just to teach cognitive targets, but it is also to imbibe the students with their own sense of values, or at the very least, give them something normal to start with. Give them a sense or a set of values that are considered as normal in the society, and then just give them time to grow, to cultivate their own sense of values as stated in the moral development of your students. Because ang goal mo as teachers for younger learners is to give them a normal life. Show them what it means to be a normal functioning human in the sense of values in relation to the society that they are moving in. Okay? So, ayun po. Ang ating importance of the affective domain targets. Okay? And that ends this particular recording. I'll see you in the next one.